now.
Yeah. Calhoun.
Yo, what's up?
What's good, man? Long time, man.
I know it's crazy, man. I know we're in the same city too, but everybody's on quarantine.
I know, for sure. Let me turn my light on behind me. It's kind of dark. Courtney, what's up, sir?
What's up, brother?
Good, man.
What's up? First of all, I feel like I just saw you a few days ago, but that probably really was like 6 weeks now.
I know, but you were one of the last people that I've seen lately, though. That's the funny part, right? Now it's probably like 6 weeks ago at this point, you know? Yep.
Hey, man. Well, before we get started, I gotta thank you guys, in public the same way I do privately, just to say thank you so much for taking, your valuable time and spending it with us, giving these people something to learn from, hopefully today, and just embodying the mission and the spirit of what I believe is the right thing to do in my heart, and just trying to pay it forward, man. I think that in these hard times, if we're all going to be stressed out and working hard. So if we apply that work ethic to creating solutions, we never know who we're going to inspire. We never know who we're going to meet and network with, and we never know what solutions are actually going to, be able to be presented with all of these brainstorming sessions and things of that nature. So once again, thank you guys. I hope that you guys are fulfilled as much as I am from this, and moreover the overall audience. So let's see if we can get Al in at some point.
Trying to get my lighting right over here,
Lighting, brother. Got to get the lighting right.
Yeah. I didn't want to be all the way in the shadows,
All right, Al's in. I think Al's in. So let's see, where's Al?
Al Mason.
Yeah.
The OG Al.
Al, you gotta unmute and you gotta hit the share video button.
I could just unmute myself, huh?
There you go. Woo, boy, look at that quarantine beard.
Amazing.
Quarantine beards are serious.
Yeah.
Okay, he's on mute. I can unmute him, or he may have did it just for the friction. So, Al, how are you?
Good, bro. How you guys doing?
Good. There you go.
Thanks for joining. So let's I gave everybody great introductions. You miss yours. You the OG from the Rockefeller to the Blueprint Management days, the marketing guy. Let's just get right into it, guys. Jason, I'll start with you. With COVID and what's happened, just like what are the three things that you've seen just kind of shape and redefine what's going on? I mean, like all we see in the blogs and thing is artists and performers can't make money because they can't go on the road. And I think that having you and Bryan and Al as the marketing heads, the digital strategists, and you particularly because you're very innovative, you're an entrepreneur, you're tech savvy, you're a tech investor. I think it's very important for you to kind of articulate how you're viewing these things so that you can kind of construct the problem sets that then need to be solved. So tell us a little bit about like the 2 or 3 things that you see really just transcending this industry right now.
Obviously, first and foremost is technology, right? Like everyone in their future kid is doing something live on social media, on Instagram. But then it's funny because then you still see some artists that aren't posting on social media still doing the quarantine, which I was just talking to with a friend of mine prior to this, just like, some people still aren't posting anything, But I think one thing we know is for sure as a fact is that's one of our biggest tools, right? Like be it YouTube Live, Instagram, just these platforms that we have to project out art, I think that in today's time, now people are gonna have to really be creative, which is exciting and even better for me and us as consumers, right? Just that now artists are gonna have to really dig deep and really tap into their creativity for real, personality. You're gonna have to be entertaining. because we have all of the content to watch in the world. What's going to make us watch your content now? You know? So I think that every artist that is in their car rapping or singing or something. So now you got to do something. You got to do something else, right? Everyone's not Travis Scott and doing something on Fortnite. So, you know, now people are going to have to really figure out how they can leverage their status or, you know, project their creativity for real.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. And then, I mean, Bryan and Al, you guys work intimately together at Blueprint. And I think, you know, Bryan, you probably see a lot of this because a lot of people come to you with their unique case studies, whether they be the independent artists or whether it's the major artists that you are behind the scenes working with, you know, with Blueprint, as well as what comes through the pipeline at Pandora. So what have you seen as well, you know?
So yeah, I think that you know, really in terms of case studies, a lot of times, like I feel like, you know, we're actually doing them. We're doing things that become the case studies in many instances, and you know, you know, really sort of follow up on what Jason was saying. You know, just people doing things and going live, but like, what do you do to differentiate what you're doing? So I'll give you an example of something that I've been working on for the past month. Is with you know, so there's lots of DJs going live and spinning on Instagram, but so I had this thought that I've had for a while and just really had the opportunity to execute on was, you know, if you think about a press conference, right? You know, so the president does a press conference. You've got all the news channels lined up. You've got ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN. They're all lined up. Their cameras are a few feet from each other. They're all filming the exact same thing and broadcasting live. My thought was, why don't we do the same thing on social? So when Questlove wanted to start doing live DJ sets, you know, my thought was, let's not just do it on Instagram. That's fine, but let's do it on all channels. So what we've been doing is every night we've been multicasting his live stream. So we're live on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch simultaneously. Now we've been doing this for a month, and what's been really interesting is we're starting to see like these patterns that have emerged, and you know, they're really great things from certain platforms and things, you know, each platform sort of has its own thing, you know, the way people engage, the watch time, the number of hours, the number of uniques, and there's value in, you know, quite frankly, in all of them, and I think it just makes it so much bigger. But I'll say that the thing that's been the most interesting, look, it's nice that people are doing stuff for charity, right? It's great, and I applaud people for those efforts. But we got to figure out how to make money, man. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like, you know, the artists that we work with have got to make money, and we make money when our clients make money. So if our clients aren't making any money, so we got to figure out ways to do it. And what I've seen is, you know, so in addition to doing these live streams, the Roots, more than any other artist I've been working with, have been very aggressive about posting new content on YouTube, video content. So, you know, the places where, of the 5 where we've been streaming a ton every day, the 2 that make money are YouTube and Twitch.
Yep.
And what I think is the biggest opportunity right now, if I look at, you know, there's a lot of people talking about TikTok, and I think there's some cool opportunities with it. Spinrilla is cool. You know, there are some technologies I think that are interesting, but in terms of like right now, sort of like what you can do and what the opportunity is, the platform with the greatest gap right now is Twitch, right? It is crazy what you can do with that. It's crazy.
So I you're going deep, but I'm gonna transition into Al. I would say for the people listening, those were 2 playbook points right there. Your man's basically said, you know, we're going into this age of 5G. I call it distribution 5.0. If you're going to record content of yourself, you might as well utilize and leverage all of the unique channels. So A, you have that exposure, but B, you can start tracking that user engagement, that behavior, so that you can do what you need to do on the analytical side of things to understand how to deepen that relationship with your fans, correct? And then obviously the other thing that Bryan just mentioned was YouTube and Twitch. So y'all explore that. And Al, you being the marketing guy, you know, I heard you just say, we got to get on Twitter, we got to do TikTok, we got to do all these things. So how do you see this industry? And then, you know, on top of what Bryan just said, because I think that that's just kind of how your mind works, right?
Yeah, I mean, my mind has always been based on solving the problem, right? I believe the consumers, you know, are the customer for the artist, and it's about solving problems. I think this is a unfortunate time, you know, from a medical perspective, but it's the most exhilarating, exciting time ever for technology. And I think artists, you know, Bryan and I've been saying forever, JG, one of my closest friends and closest like think tank guys. I go to his house sometimes, we talk about things. But one thing that we've all talked about is the fact that an artist is a brand, right? And I think the biggest problem that most artists have, or they have trepidation on trepidation with social media platforms, is that they keep trying to make them and the artist the same. And to be a successful artist, you have to separate Beyonce from Sasha Fierce. You know what I'm saying? You have to separate the two. And I think a lot of artists are getting caught up in that. And if you're not taking advantage of these platforms that Gita and Bryan mentioned before, then you're doing the service to your fans, and you're going to really hurt your brand. You know, I think it's important for artists to be authentic and true to themselves. I always tell artists, and me and Bryan have been saying this for artists for years, like, look at yourself, look at your social media as your own personal TV network. And I think a lot of artists just struggle with that. They're taking it too personal. They're trying to be perfect. And this is not the time for that. This is the time to get it done and get better. You know, the perfectionist, the magic bullet syndrome. I just feel like a lot of artists, a lot of young managers, they have this magic bullet mentality that, oh, if I sign a blueprint, I'm going to do nothing else and it's going to work for me.
Automatic.
Else. And it's like, nah, this is like, and I'm not a finance guy, Bryan is, but this is like, to me, like, diversifying your portfolio. You know, you have to be like saying, you have to like Twitch, you know, Triller, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Live, Instagram Story. You have to be
everywhere.
Your hands on, you know, and you can't put all the pressure on your songs. Because to me, I feel like, how many great songs are there per year? Maybe 3 to 5. The rest of the songs are hits because of the people behind them and the perception. And a friend of mine, Big Bob's been saying this for me for a couple of weeks, is culture velocity. Culture velocity creates opportunity, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And I think that's why I really wanted to get y'all here. By the way, everybody, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this session for about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the YouTube chat on the page. But just transitioning to that, Al, I think you made a really, really good point that you can't just rely on a song and you have to build your brand. And I would say that, you know, it's hard. Social media can be very intimidating. And if you don't have a team behind you, sometimes people think, where do I start? Every photo have to be photoshopped? You know, does everything have to be, you know, this high-end definition video? But I think, you know, to your point, as we bring this back to technology, like, things are cheaper than they've ever been before. Like, music videos used to have $1 million budgets. Now you can shoot something with a $500 budget if you really just have the vision, right? What do you think about that, Jason?
See, I think that that's it right there. Like, artists have to understand that this is a new day. Like the $500,000 video, the $1 million video, right? The big crew, like, those days are right now, they're over. We don't know how long we're dealing with the pandemic, first and foremost, right? We know that until there's a solution, like we like, how many people are going to get together, and, you know, we're going to have to move with this new reality right now, right? Until we have a solution, a vaccine, a cure, whatever you want to call it, you know? So who knows? That could be 5 years from now. That could be, who knows, right? So to me, I think that now artists have to truly understand what we're all saying is, hey, just get in the game and you're going to get better as you go. You know, stop thinking everything has to be perfect. Of course, give your content some thought. I think that, once again, the upside, to now is like a lot of the guys who were just hustling, because let's be honest, especially with hip hop, a lot of people are just hustling. Yo, I know I can do this because I can get some money. Like now I'm really not, this isn't what I'm passionate about, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's no driving. No, I haven't been doing this a long time. Like, you know, so now I feel like now those guys are probably gonna fall by the wayside, which to me I'm all for. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now like let's get to like the cream will rise to the top, you know, and now show that, right? Like you said, do a cooking show. Do, you know, hey, roll a blunt, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever your thing is, like go into that, because now I feel like, back to Al's point, we know that, yo, it's about you as a brand, and it's really bigger than a record. You know, to me, when Cardi B came and Cardi B got a deal right off of her personality, you know, and they said, hey, you know what? It's not about the music. We'll get the music. Like when I heard that story, when that happened, I was like, wow, the game has changed now. Now it's, you know, and that's what it is. And we've seen that with reality TV. So back to you guys' analogy with an artist's social media and everything. Yo, this is a network. We bought All Def because of the audience that it had on YouTube and Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, it's a real business, and people got to really truly treat it like that and really understand how to really maximize on their dollars, how to create products, you know, to sell throughout their content, you know, and to still make a living without having to get up and go everywhere.
And I say one thing, I think you're right, G. I think my biggest pet peeve is people not respecting the arts development process. Like you all definitely right. People keep, like, even Issa Rae, perfect example. She didn't start with Insecure. She started with Open Black Girl.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
And it evolved. You know, it evolved. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I remember I had a meet with Tommy Hilfiger, and I asked him, I was like, man, you know, how'd you do it? What was your thought process? He was like, man, Al, I started taking the stairs in my mentality. Next thing I know, I was on the elevators. You know what I'm saying? And so it's about getting started. It's about getting started. And, you know, to me, I feel like Jason kind of said this too before, like, I feel like a lot of people think music industry is a get rich quick scheme. To me, it still can happen if you prepare yourself with the proper tools, and those tools are probably going to be the digital tools you create for yourself and unique experiences. The most exciting thing to me about this past couple of months we've been on this lockdown, I've been telling every client I deal with that you have a captive audience for the first time ever, you know. And I would imagine that after this is all over with, guys like Teddy Riley and Babyface are going to be even bigger than ever, you know. Because
can I add something to that? What Al's saying about, like, you know, like the versus thing has been really big, but, you know, one of the other challenges is that when you do have that moment, it doesn't really last long. So you got to do something to capitalize on it very quickly. And, you know, everybody's been talking about D Nice, you know, and he's somebody who's made a lot of money off of doing this, but not a lot of DJs have, right? There's a zillion DJs out there doing it. He's the one that did it. And it was really, you know, that's, you know, preparation meets opportunity, right? And that's what happened. And I also want to go back to a point that both Alan and Jason made about, you know, people overthinking doing stuff. You know, it's the term, it's analysis paralysis. You know what I mean? Stop analyzing and just get it done.
Yeah.
And look, and I look, I'll tell you, it's something that I've struggled with personally.
Sure.
You know, as you know, as you mentioned, Court, you know, I wrote a book and built software to help independent musicians. But man, I understand the artist's psyche from going through it. You know what I mean? It's like, man, it's not right. I need to get that edit just right. Man, I just gotta get the shit out. Like, just get it done and put it out. And one other thing that I want to add, just which is stuff that both those guys were talking about, is that, you know, like Al said, it's like we've talked about your social networks like a TV channel, right? So it's you're delivering content to people, and it's okay to give them commercials from time to time. It's like, you know, if you listen to the radio or you watch television, you know, you're okay to be interrupted with your program to watch TV because you're there for the other content. So artists shouldn't have sensitivity about saying, hey, you can buy my tickets, you can buy a t-shirt from me, you know, as long as it's not, that's the only thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? You can mix it in, but it's got to be the minority. And just think about it in the same kind of mix that broadcast television has been doing for decades. And anyway, I think if you sort of like follow those things, it kind of help you find success and wait your way through it. And then the last point I'll leave with on this part of it is that artists need to think of themselves not just as musicians, but as multimedia artists.
Yep.
Yep.
Right? Yes, you are a recording artist, but you do live performance. Like your live performance needs to be something special. Like you're a performance artist. You have to do images. You have to do video. So these are all different types of art. It's not just music, and you need to think about yourself in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bryan's so right. It's a couple of principles I live by, and when I talk to artists, and one of the things I tell artists all the time is like, you have to really figure out what you do best, and you have to understand when you break down why people buy albums, why people go to tours. It's a couple of things, and it's about high personal interest. It's like, I think, like Jason said so beautifully, like do a cooking show, roll a blunt. You have to connect with your audience in a personal manner. They want to know that you're just like them. And I think the benefit, the true benefit of this time we live in for artists is that there's a whole slew of working class artists. There's a working class artist slew that make money, can make good money, and not have to compromise themselves. And I think this is the time that can come alive. I think in the past, there were several things that impeded you. I was on the phone with Dave Hollister last night talking about the fact that, back in the 90s, it cost you a couple of $1,000s just to get to the studio. Right, G? That was, the investment alone was
yeah, it was a big deal to get in the studio, right?
Yeah.
You had a sponsor to get to the studio.
Yeah. You had to Apex Real 4, 5, 6. That shit was like $20 itself. So these type of things, and so I just try to, and it's something that Bryan and I have been talking about. I mean, literally decades. Me and Bryan have been saying like, we have to have, I should have a tiered fan approach. The tiered fan approach, I'll start and Bryan could probably finish. The tiered fan approach is like, how many people want to spend $10,000 per year on me? How many people want to spend $5,000, $2,500, $1,000, 50? Two last things I'll say. I seen G-Eazy create that, and I seen Travis Scott create that. And I remember, I've known Travis forever, but I remember I was in Europe at one of these wireless festival with G-Eazy, maybe 6 years ago. And so Travis, I don't think Travis performed on the wireless, but him and Virgil did an after party, and that shit was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, this kid has something. Travis didn't wait for a hit record to start engaging with his fan base, and that's why he is who he is today. And that's why Jason Jeter, and honestly, Jeter, did you see that in him when you signed him? Jeter? Did you see him being on the forefront? Did you see him being that type of ally when you first signed him?
I definitely did. To me, I feel like, and I say to anyone, to me, like with artists that really make it for real, right? You see that energy, and you're just lucky enough to be a part of that, right? The artist that you want to be in business with is the artist that's going to make it with or without you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, yo, let me get down with you and let me help you get there. But you're the guy that's going to be good regardless, right? So to me, with Dude, man, he was definitely early. You could see that, as a producer, artist, number one, he was kind of on the tech game as well. You know what I'm saying? So his understanding was very different. And it was so funny because when I first met Travis, he told me early, like, yo, SoundCloud's the next wave. And that always stuck to me. As SoundCloud came about and grew, I was always like, yo, he was the first one who told me. So I mean, I think that for sure, he's a student of the game, and he studies the game for sure. He prepares himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, to that point, I think because everybody is on social media and everybody's putting out content, I look at it also as a distribution channel for artists. I mean, even with us, there's an artist I love named Protege, and his producer, Rod Cam, right? Well, hey, here we are. We needed marketing material, so we looped their instrumental on all of this stuff, So I think those are like little growth hacks is what we would call them in tech, right, Bryan? But these are like some of the different things that you could basically utilize to get your voice heard and just be very, very creative, because at the end of the day, music has to, it solves a problem, whether it's to inspire somebody, whether it's to help them overcome, help them overcome something. Or hey, I see Jason Jeter is promoting Heavy Sound and he posts his stuff left and right on Twitch, Instagram. now I know you about to get a hella track, Jason. I'm sorry, but that's deal flow for you as well, right? So
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Listen, anyone can go to heavysound.com and apply if you're an artist, or even if you want to be a future executive. So we're talking to artists and we're talking to music lovers all the way around. But that has been going extremely well during this time. I'm doing what we're saying artists should do, right? I'm recognizing opportunity and I'm jumping on, I'm doing Zoom calls, and I'm telling this community, right, that, hey, you know what? We're going to grow together. I'm new to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not coming from television as a host or anything. Like, I'm learning. So I'm really being transparent with people and saying, hey, I'm going to bring you great conversations. I want to have each one of you, Al, Bryan, Cordy, I'm going to double back to you guys, and I want to invite you to my Heavy Talk series. So far, I've sat down. Yeah, I've sat down. I spoke to Coach. I spoke to Dame Dash. We've had Rico Brooks. We've had Zaytoven, DJ Scream. Other people. We've done three shows so far, but we're building a community. And in a matter of 4 weeks, I have over 1,000 people in my community right now. You know what I'm saying?
Started from scratch.
I started from scratch. So I've signed 3 artists during this last, I guess, during the quarantine, right? I've signed 3 artists and I've gained 1,000 heavy crew members. So now you guys say, what's a heavy crew member? To me, this is like the evolution of a street team, right? Of course, I've been on street teams, have my own street teams. Today, we know it's no more hanging up posters and flyers and giving out stickers, right? Now it's posting, hashtagging, you know what I'm saying? Reposting. So now I'm building a community. It's back to what you guys said too with artists. Yo, you can sell them stuff, but you have to give more than you ask, or that's what you should do. Give more than you ask of them, So I'm creating incentivized challenges to help promote artists. We'll grow this audience to hopefully 100,000 plus people still sitting in quarantine. You know what I'm saying? Because now I have been taking advantage of the spins on Instagram and on Facebook, on TikTok, on all of these platforms, because you get more traction for your dollar now. While everyone is kind of trying to figure it out. So I've been trying to run and grow and take advantage of the opportunity and the times and grow that to be big. The same way I'm telling artists to do things, I'm doing it all myself.
Right. I said no. It's like Jesus so right. Like for me, like I've been like analysis paralysis too. Because for me, my biggest challenge has been self-promotion. Like I came from the Rockefeller situation, and I see how you gotta be careful when you're promoting yourself as an executive. So I've been really taking my time and figuring out what my calling is. And for me, like I've always told everybody, like to me, man, I got in this game. I'm a pastor's kid, I'm a church kid, so like I got into this game to really help save young Black men's lives. I think young Black men, this is our culture, it's our music. Hip hop to me is the biggest, most impactful thing in the world. You look at, my wife showed me this Drake video, this kids in Africa doing a Tootsie slide.
I saw that.
Incredible. And I'm like, damn, it's a global thing. But for me, it's kind of like, I struggle with self-promotion. It's like, I don't promote myself. My platform that I'm building is more about really helping people and walking through this process slowly. Executives, as well as artists, like really getting them to understand the process and being a resource for them, and not talking down on them, but kind of answering their questions, having patience to answer their questions. Because I truly believe that the music business, like everybody on this phone, the music business can be a lucrative business if you understand the principles and the product principles. Absolutely.
And yeah. I'll say real quick, Al, clearly I know, like you said, I'm like you, right? I'm the guy that's like, I'm good. I don't want to talk, but man, we just got to put ourselves out there though. Like now's the time, man. Like, we're at the prime of our lives in a sense, right? So now it's like, we got to go, man. Just go fast and get better as we go.
Hey, we got a question that popped in. This might be a good one for you too, Bryan. It says from Ricardo, do you guys see any data on most requested content from the various platforms? Thinking as someone who is not a superstar, any gaps in content? I don't really necessarily know. Maybe you guys can.
There's a site that I started using a couple weeks ago. Derek Jackson put me onto. It's called Chart Metrics. Chart Metrics. I guess that's saying like
Metric, yep.
Yeah, like that. You could put almost any artist name in there, and it tells you that Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter, Instagram, whatever that artist is, it takes all that data and it tells you how they're doing.
Wow.
From an analysis standpoint.
Wow. Wow. Hey, one last thing for you, Bryan. I mean, clearly no one can go on the road. A lot of the big music deals are kind of subsidized from the Live Nations and the AEG. So that's kind of cut. I think now is the perfect time for you to be independent. And probably, Jason, you probably would agree as well. And I mean, the music business toolbox, can you just talk about that a little bit? Because it is literally the hack, you know, it is the Bible, so to speak, if you are trying to be an independent musician, coming from somebody that I respect really well yourself. But I mean, it's not like you wrote this overnight, you know?
Yeah, no. No. So it's, I mean, it's really the culmination of my career and quite frankly, the culmination of careers of other people as well. So, I mean, it really started, man, really like in 2002, 2003, I was working at labels and I was frustrated by the lack of analysis that they did on putting out records or their finances. And I was just blown away by how large of an investment a record label would make in an artist on just a hunch. Like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. Let's try it. Or it was just absurd. And so it started by building some financial modeling software so that we could, you know, plug in different variables. Like if we sold this many and we spent this much in marketing and we only spent this on recording, what was our cash flow and profitability and how many records we have to sell to break even, just like so we could actually have some kind of goals. And what I realized is, so I built that software and started licensing it to some independent labels. But what I realized was that there were a lot of people that, you know, the numbers kind of was secondary to understanding the basics of the business. Like, you know, people didn't know that there were, you know, there are two copyrights in a sound recording. There's the composition or the song, and then there's the sound recording, two separate copyrights. And, you know, they monetize differently. People didn't know what ISRC codes or UPC codes or how distribution worked. Just like a lot of, you know, fundamental things that as the technology made it easier for people to release music because it's super easy to record, right? We talked about that, how cheap it is to record now. Same thing with distribution. It's easy. Marketing is also, quite frankly, it's at least accessible. I mean, like when all of us were started, like, man, if you didn't get your records on BET, MTV, and the radio, you were toast. Like that was it, right? Now there's like so many other opportunities for you to have some, you know, to reach fans. That of course more people are doing it, and you know that has proven to be the case. And it's nuts that there are so many distribution companies: CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, STEM, United Artists. Like, and the crazy thing is that, like, and then there's tons more of them, and all of them are growing. Like, it's crazy to me that they're all growing. But like, how do you do it? Like the one. So going back to it. So, you know, I built this financial software and I was licensing it to independent labels and I was helping people with their financial analysis, but they didn't understand the basics. And so I really just started by putting together some things to walk you through the process, like, and then built, and then over time, like, you know, Al and Jason and I in our careers, you know, when it's time to put out a new record, there are certain starting points that we have because we've done it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, we got a new artist. It's not the exact same thing, but we've got a template that we can use for a marketing plan. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like there's like some basics, and then you modify them based on the individual artist. So I just put them all together. So I have like a template for a marketing plan, business plans, and one sheets and a template for your release schedule. So all the things you need to do leading up to the release of your record, and of course the financial component so that you can, you know, do a break-even analysis and that kind of thing. And I overhauled it, and it's crazy because I put it out initially in 2008 and whatever, got busy and whatever. And I just redid it. And, you know, my launch campaign is like in the process of starting. So anyway, it's all at musicbusinesstoolbox.com, but I'm super proud of it. And, you know, like these guys, like there's a core part of what I feel like I am is I'm altruistic. Like I want to see people be successful. Like I want to see independent artists be able to make it and not have to rely on, you know, the overseer at the major record label who dictates you will do this and gives you some shitty ass deal. Like, man, I want people to own and control their own destiny, man. And like, I mean, it keeps me up at night. It like burns me up when I see people doing terrible deals or making bad decisions. Man, I get angry, man. Like it hypes me up.
Or,
You know?
I'm saying, letting that stifle them. I look at a guy like Tory Lanez right now who's out of his deal. Yo. And I'm saying, you know, and I'm just like, yo, you know, I'm proud of him because he created Quarantine Radio, has been doing his thing, but you know, and now he has all the leverage. He has all the leverage. Like he didn't give up, he didn't get discouraged. He sort of played through, and now he has all the leverage in the world. There's another thing I really want to touch on. So I know there's a good friend of mine, Damon Williams, from Music Choice. I remember like 15 years ago, he always say that the CEO of Music Choice doesn't leave for free. Nothing could be free. And I've always had it in the back of my mind, like, I hate free. Free bothers me. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, because I feel like even now, I feel once again, society and businesses are manipulating artists and not paying artists. Like, you know, like everyone's talking about, oh, this charity, that charity. I'm like, there's no damn charity. At the end of the day, you know, a client like G-Eazy who tours for a living, he might be okay. But how about his light guy? How about his sound guy? How about his tour manager? Like these are the guys that are suffering. So why would I want to, in an epidemic like this, why would I want to do free stuff? You know, it should be, we should have platforms, you know, for the artists can actually do pay-per-view stuff and get paid for to kind of support their crew, you know, their crew or their families, you know what I'm saying, or themselves. And I think like still in all, no one's really solved that problem. I look at Instagram, like Instagram, this Teddy Riley Babyface thing, to me, it's kind of their fault. You knew what was happening. You should have got behind this thing and figured out, because this is the point of social media to me. It's supposed to help people have better lives. Why would you not get behind that and make that a better situation?
Let me ask this question, right? To me, it's like, is it Instagram's fault or is that our fault? You know, and I just say that ours in regards to, yeah, you know what I'm saying? To me, like, you know, I don't want to get all the way into it because it could get a little touchy, you know what I'm saying? Like, but to me personally, I personally feel like that was a missed opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That was a missed opportunity to move things further, move things along a little bit within the culture. I think obviously it's great, it's exciting, but like you said, back to that point of realistically, a lot of people aren't benefiting. A lot of people aren't getting paid. You're not even getting, these streams aren't even counting, right? You know, these plays don't even count as streams, you know? So to me, I think even from the user's standpoint, as a user sitting here and now I'm experiencing, hey, you know, your Wi-Fi is not good and it drops after an hour and come back on. And, you know, so as I'm experiencing all of these, this is bad user service, but it's free. So but I would have paid for this experience, to your point though, Al. You know what I'm saying? I would have paid $5, whatever that number is, to have a better user experience for real in watching this presentation, you know? And to me, honestly, I think that it's unfortunate because I feel like that was an opportunity for those guys to go and create something, go and get a part of, find someone that already had that platform, right? That proper platform, and get some equity in and say, okay, now let's come and let's do this in a bigger way for real.
I agree with you, Jason. It's tough. The thing that makes that tough though is, you know, and you know this from your experience, is just like building platforms at scale.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really expensive, right? Like you've got to ramp up. It takes, you know, time and money. to be able to be able to do those kinds of things. And I mentioned this in the very beginning. I kind of went off and rambling a little bit about it maybe, but man, I think the biggest opportunity for live for the music community is with Twitch right now, just because there are really elegantly built in monetization hooks that the user base is already familiar with. I mean, so they got, whatever, hundreds of millions or maybe even billions of people using it. I don't know how many are using it, but I'm also speaking from like, when we did it, like, I swear I didn't think we would make any money from it. And I was like, you made what? We made how much over the past few weeks? Like, totally blown away. Had absolutely no idea. So I think there's a huge opportunity there, for the music community.
Excuse me 1 second, Bryan. So you said when you did it, and I'll say this because Twitch, right? It's been there. My son, all of that. He's a gamer, right? Now I've gotten on to Twitch, and now I know a little bit. I've been doing my research, but it's funny because I listened to this Roots the other night, about 2 nights ago. So to me, can you speak a little bit more on Twitch? You even said when you did it, but I don't know what you were referring to. But just talk about Twitch a little bit more for my personal sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
sure. The audience will like to hear a lot too.
Sure. So if you think about probably the closest thing to it that you're familiar with is probably YouTube, right? It's a video streaming platform that's focused on video, whereas YouTube is focused on VOD. Although there are you can stream live on it. Twitch is very much focused on the live streaming space, and where they really grew initially from was gamers who are essentially broadcasting or live streaming themselves playing games, but then they have a camera on themselves and the other people who are playing, and they're providing commentary as they're playing. So it's crazy. Like, look, man, let me tell you, we did something with them 3 years ago. And I was just like, this is cool, but like, man, I just didn't get to, like, I was still thinking about, this is for cats playing, Call of Duty.
Listen, man, real quick, right? So I would watch over my son's shoulder and see him playing something, watching this at the same time.
Crazy.
So I'm like, what? So and to me, it was just super game geeky, right? Like, man, this is like overload, but that's really how they get their cheat codes, right? For them.
That's right. That's right.
This is how I get my, so I'm like, oh, okay, this is like the cheat code books that we used to have to get back in the day. Like,
that's right.
What's that EA game for that store? What's the big store in the mall called back in the day? The game store?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even either.
Yeah. But what happened is you basically take that same thing and then put it, have a musician doing it. But now the monetization comes in from a few different opportunities. So much like other social channels, you can have a follower. So you can follow people on the platform, right? So literally the Roots went from 0 to, like, we're almost at 30,000 followers in a month, which is awesome, amazing growth. But you can also have subscribers, and subscribers pay. So it's either $5 a month, $10 a month, or $25 a month. I didn't think anybody would do it, right? I was shocked at how many people just were like, I'll subscribe. And there's revenue there. There's also opportunities around emotes and these things called bits, where basically you can be like, hey, I'm going to give you, I think a bit equates to like a penny. So you could be like, oh, here's 50 bits, just give someone 50 cents. But one of the things that's really crazy, and if you go back and look at some of the clips, so they also have, so even though the focus of it is live, you can have on-demand viewing later. But what we realized is that the on-demand viewing of the exact same thing is way bigger on YouTube than live. Like, people are live and they're super engaged and they're giving bits and they're subscribing, and then that's happening. But people don't go back and really watch stuff so much on Twitch. It really is about live.
Live culture.
The live culture. It's a culture. That's it, exactly.
in regards to that, because like I think Twitch it started with gaming, and people like, you know, you guys understand it, but for an average kid, I saw someone say, you know, like what are indie labels looking for in unsigned artists, right? So when you're starting there, and now you're trying to understand the monetization of YouTube or Twitch and things. Can y'all talk about like what it really means also when you're starting ground up to not only build and invest in your craft, but to like invest in your team, to have people around you that actually understand this type of stuff? That, that's key, right?
Oh man, I mean, obviously, we all know, right? The better your team is, the more championships you can win. Let's be honest. It's as simple as that, right? Let's go correlate that to sports, man. Like, you know, if you have a solid team from top to bottom, the best at every position, that dream team, yo, you're gonna get back to back to back wins. Like it is what it is. If you're a team and hey, you know, I'm one guy and I'm trying to hold it down, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have some good nights and some good games, and shit, I'm not gonna win the championship most likely, you know. So I mean, I think that's super simple, you know.
I think
team is everything.
what one with Gita is saying, like specifically, is like I think that I have a principle in life that you should do things you love. And I think that everyone on your team should do things they love. I think if everybody on my team has known for over 20 years that I hate music videos, sets, and I hate studios. I'm both of them things I'm calling by, I'm engaging for an hour and a half and I'm out. I'm not staying all day long. But because what gets me excited and what gets me and Bryan excited is talking about shit like this and trying to figure out how to, you know, how to promote and create brands like that. So I think it's first and foremost, it's like I remember like, you know, the whole ASAP movement, and they were talking about, the young brother that passed away and how impactful he was in just YouTube and social media space. He's the one that got that thing started for them. So I think yeah. So I think like if you're a young up and coming artist, you need a crew, you know, a dedicated crew. You know, that's one thing that when we signed G-Eazy, you know, Bryan was there. We signed G-Eazy. A lot of it was because, like Jeter said, you know, he's gonna make it with or without me, one. And two, Matt and Jamil, Rebels, they knew what they were doing, and they had a real definitive role in what they were doing, you know, along with G, you know what I'm saying? And that continues today. And so all we over there was come and form Voltron and do what we do best, you know, because to me, like, artists to me could be billion and multi-million-dollar brands. You see Jay-Z and Kanye West, and I think Travis might be a billionaire at some point because I think they get it. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're trying to build a billion-dollar brand, you're gonna need a team. One last thing I'll say is that that's part of the success of Rockefeller. Like when we first started Rockefeller, you know, March of '96, I was 22 years old. I was getting paid $200 a week cash every Friday. They would pay me. But even at Rockefeller, we started, we had like 7, 8 people that were full time, getting paid $200, $250 a week. It wasn't a lot, but because we had that many people, we could actually divide and conquer. And then Def Jam was our partner, our big brothers, and they showed us certain things. So it's like you need that team. You can't. It's hard to do it on your own.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add.
Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
I was gonna add one more thing in. Sorry, but also, like you said, with a team, but making sure that you have a diverse team. You know, which is so critical, and that's what I've always respected about you guys at Blueprint. Like you said, every man playing a different position. You know, I think that so many times people put together a team just based upon what's around you. Hey, this is my man, this is my boy, this is my, you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, yo, how far are you guys gonna get? All you guys play the same position now. The team, you know.
It's a great point. I think one of the other challenges that people have in the very beginning is, you know, look, it's tough to get the attention of the Jason Jeters and the Al Branches of the world, and you know, there are a lot of characteristics and things that we look for in people. Like, you know, working hard is of paramount importance. You know, you've got to really be someone who works their ass off and is committed to it. But you know, if you think about it from this perspective, if you know you've got these established artist managers, and if they've got a client that makes $10 million a year, if they're going to take time away from that client and give it to you, that is an opportunity cost. Because the truth is, it's easier to take a client that makes $10 million a year and get them to $11 million a year. And that additional $1 million is commissionable, right? It's easier to do that than it is to take someone from 0 to $1 million of revenue. And I think a lot of times, you know, emerging artists, you know, don't think about it from that perspective, and it's really important. The energy and time and effort that it takes to help get you from 0 to something is significant. And if they've already got a roster of clients that are generating revenue, you know, they're taking away time from, they could be taking away time from that. And, you know, look, I mean, I think we all try to have the right mix of developing artists, and really, because you want to, keep things growing. But I think that it's a really important thing to realize what a huge deal it is to get that happening. But Al brought up the point about G-Eazy and the team that he had working with him. You know, in the beginning, you got to get shit going on your own. And if you think that just waiting around on, Grand Hustle or Blueprint and that you just wait for them, man, you're waiting forever. You got to get shit going, man. You got to make it happen on your own.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead. You had something to say, Al? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of times it's like people don't want to do the work. They don't want to put the work in, and then they try to put that on you. And I just think that a lot of artists and their teams have the ability, but they don't understand how long it takes. I always tell everyone, I always say, my theory is that you do 50 songs, 25 videos in 18 months, you will become an artist at that point. If you can't make it after that point, you know what you're dealing with. But I think I think people don't put enough music out, they don't put enough content out, and they're not consistent enough. And I think that's the biggest detriment. In other words, I tell artists too, like, you gotta stop looking at the accolade. You can't let an accolade define your career. What I'm trying to say is, you can't say, I'm an independent artist from College Park and I put a single up, and because I didn't get 100,000 views or 100,000 streams, I failed, and you gotta add to it your manager, you don't wanna do shit. To me, you gotta be like, look, you gotta run that route. You gotta run your route. When you get the ball or not, you gotta run your route. You know what I'm saying? And that route to me is, you gotta put this strategy there for 18, 24 months. You gotta stick to that shit, regardless of regardless of the accolades attached to it. Stream, you gotta do it. You gotta run the route. I look at a guy named Russ, and I was very impressed. This guy was on. I told every artist, you want to really learn something, watch Russ on Nori's Drink Champs. He said he put out 8 fucking albums. He put out 8 projects. You know what I'm saying? 8 projects, because it didn't happen to the 8th project. He got his first inkling of a hit. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a real strategy, grown man sport.
Let's talk about that for one split second, right? Because I had the pleasure of meeting Russ before, right as everything was coming together, but before he did his deal and everything, and I got introduced to him. I went to his crib. I'm in the basement, and I'm at this point, it's like a runaway train, right? So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, because this is something new, right? At the time, and I was really impressed by his whole conversation and what he had going on that was developing at that point, and him saying, like, y'all put out a new song every week on SoundCloud, so it's back to our programmed, I think it was like every Tuesday at whatever time, every week I put out a record, but even furthermore, he says, yo, to be able to do that, I had to learn how to produce. I had to learn how to record myself, So to me, when it comes to artists, every young artist that I'm talking to, I'm telling them, if you don't know how to at least record yourself, you're tripping in today's world, just based on the fact that, once again, technology is so affordable. You can get a $700 setup. You can put it in a corner of your room. You can put it in your book bag and open it up when you want to, right? But at the end of the day, you have to be able to record, to your point, Al, a ton of music so that you can get it out. It doesn't always have to be perfect. Like, when someone finds it, they'll remix it. We can go back in and redo it, whatever that is. But I feel like that you have to be as self-contained as possible, to really run the marathon that it takes to gain traction,
Hey, I saw a good question before we wrap it up, because I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. This is amazing. This is one of your frat brothers, Bryan Trey Lee, from Mississippi. He asks, with the increase of content creation and the emergence of many new artists, do you guys necessarily see an increase in talent recognition or A&R opportunities?
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
From an A&R standpoint, like, yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's many A&Rs in the music business anymore. I think you got a lot of guys who just do. That's a whole nother subject about the deterioration of black music departments and music record labels. Y'all gotta pay for that. Y'all gotta pay for that one. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, what's an A&R? You know what I'm saying? What really is an A&R? I would ask him that question, and I would say, to me, you know, every job you get, you learn as you go. But you have to. But there's got to be someone there who's responsible for. And to me, A&R to me has always meant A&R to me really is an independent label within the label. You know, G's been an A&R. You know what I'm saying? Bryan's been an A&R. Like, you know, if you don't sign the artist, develop it, and know how to do everything for yourself and tell the marketing department what you need, what's expected, who the artist is, then you probably won't have success, because the A&R has to know what they're selling. You know what I'm saying? It's the A&R baby first.
Yep. The A&R person is the real advocate for that artist in the building.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
guys, this has been amazing. This has been real. I'm so fortunate, you know, for people that don't know, you know, just at least give them your handles or however you prefer to be communicated, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, Al probably don't. But that's why we have Be Great.
Al's talking about all that stuff about how you need to do all this stuff on social media, and his ass is ghost. He's nowhere on it at all.
But you know what? With that being said, I appreciate you guys allowing me and Be Great to be the liaison, you know, because I definitely believe in reaching back and paying it forward. And we really appreciate it. I mean, it's not often you get guys that's responsible for so many big names, you know, in one room virtually without egos being present. And I think that's something to really acknowledge. And I really thank you guys for the time and whatnot. And we'll be following up, you know, hopefully if there's some interns, if there's whatever you guys need, and on the vice versa, we'll be able to be that bridge. And that's really the mission of this. So once again, I thank you. Jason, I actually have Cedric coming on from
that's
All
cool.
Deaf.
Yeah.
So if you want to stick around for his segment, we kind of cut into it a little bit, but he gave us
coming on
now? Man. He's coming on right now. If you want to stick around,
well, I'll stick around and say hello and drop a couple more plugs from heavysound.com, and then I get out of here.
Hey, everybody, please remember Bryan Calhoun, the Music Business Toolbox. Bryan, can you tell them where to go get it from? Although there's a link on our website that they can check out. But, you know, once again, that app you want.
Yeah, I also just dropped it in the comment section on YouTube, but it's musicbusinesstoolbox.com. And you can also follow me on, you know, Facebook and Instagram. It's Bryan Calhoun and Music Business Toolbox, and it's Bryan with a Y.
All right, we'll push that out, brother. I appreciate y'all.
Bryan to find me. You can DM Bryan to find me.
Yeah, exactly.
Calhoun, I'm gonna pick up a box, man. I'm gonna go to
man. Come on, man. Just dude, I'm in fact, what I'm gonna shoot you over. I'm gonna shoot it over to you as soon as we get off, brother.
Oh man, appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
Check it out, definitely.
Thank
Al,
you
hey, Court, thank you, man. Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Stay alive.
Yes, man. One at a time. Thank you.
All
Bye, guys.
All right.
Peace. Let's bring Ted in here.
cool. So once again, for everybody that didn't catch me.